Tonight on Broadcast and Bubbles, we're talking J-Lo, Shakira, and how they brought the heat to Miami. This is the 2020 Super Bowl. Woo! Also known as Super Bowl
54!
54. The 49ers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. So we're just going to do it's only a 12-minute halftime show, but we had to break down the spectacular live show that we just witnessed on the Super Bowl. And I apologize for any noise that you hear. We are in the middle of a Super Bowl party, so if you hear extra chatter, those are our lovely guests and friends and roommates, new roommates. I moved.
We're super excited, honestly, and I think we're both so amped right now because that was such an energetic, amazing performance. And it was such a good flow of songs. Started with Shakira, and then it was, they had a guest performer, and then it bled into J-Lo, and then it ended with them together. I thought it would have gone single, double, single, but they did single, single, double, and I thought that was really interesting.
I like
Outfits,
that. They did a good mashup of their songs at the end. I personally thought Shakira was so relaxed and joyful. It was one of my favorite performances I've ever witnessed because I couldn't see the fear or stress in her eyes, and I was like, whoa. She was just on another level, and she was just so calm, and I think she just went out there and was like, I don't care what happens, I'm literally just gonna have the time of my life, and she did. And it was the most joyful I've ever, almost ever felt watching someone perform. It was incredible.
Yeah, for the halftime show, for sure. And even overall. But I think what was so amazing, and a big thing we were kind of clocking the entire time, was what was live and what was pre-recorded. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of Shakira's stuff was pre-recorded, and we are sort of in agreement on that. And a lot of J-Lo, notoriously, is pre-recorded because she wants to commit 100% to the dance moves, and, justifiably so. Just, beautiful, beautiful dancing. And there was a couple moments that I was like, oh, no, that mic is hot, meaning it's on.
Yeah.
And the audio is live. But of course, as many people talk about with the Super Bowl, it's, I'm ballparking, but 50,000 people in that stands absorb so much of the sound.
Yeah.
So in order to do something truly live, it is a beast. So, this is a context where I don't fault people for pre-recording.
Yeah, and there's, it's similar to, when Beyonce was singing Amazing Grace or the National Anthem at Obama's inauguration?
Oh, yeah.
And she was, very famously, pre-recorded that. But it's, you have to understand that if you sound terrible at this event, it, ruins the event for everybody, and you just want it to be about the spectacle, and there's so many audio issues that can go wrong. I don't fault them at all for having pre-recorded vocals, because it's really just about the celebration of these two beautiful Latina women in Miami, and it's just a really important message, I think, especially to send, to the United States right now, that it just was so beautiful to see these two women celebrate each other and performing together, because I think, there's a little bit of are they going to be kind of head to head or competing? And there was so much love at the end, and it just was so fun to watch these two beautiful dancers, singers, just beautiful spirits, and they were both very different performances. J-Lo did, I think, a lot more fancy production work. There was a pole on stage, which I was here for.
Hustler.
Yeah, it's she didn't get that Oscar nomination, so she might as well do what she did on that. Yeah, which is complete bullshit. But oh my God, she's just so strong. She really exhibited how strong she is, just as as a performer, as a dancer, and just she could bench press me, is what I felt also after watching that.
That's amazing.
She's so fierce, and they're such different performers, and I really appreciate that, because they're these two Latino women, and they're both gonna be doing the same halftime show. It kind of was pitched in a sort of strange way to me, and I just really appreciated to see them back to back. It's no, they're totally unique and totally different, and because I was like, give Shakira her own halftime show. Give J-Lo her own halftime show. It doesn't need to be head to head.
I wasn't in the understanding that originally it was J-Lo and all of that, and then she goes, this will make it all the more influential and powerful. You know,
I think they said that afterwards.
You think? Interesting. I don't know. I'm going to look this up. I'm very curious.
Yeah.
That's what I remember. But I will say there was, as we've mentioned, a lot of power and drive, but it just, like an inclusivity factor that was so wonderful that it never felt that if you weren't Latina or Latino, Latinx, that you weren't welcomed in. And I thought that was so wonderful, is like, the energy of a halftime show has to be like, we're at a game, we are here for a party. And I think there's been many great halftime shows over the last few years, but this was one that was literally just
cheerleaders.
Like, go,
there were
go,
young
go.
female dancers.
J-Lo's daughter performed.
J-Lo's daughter performed. Yeah, it just, to be honest, I think it was the best halftime show I've seen
in a minute.
In a long time. I mean, I'm partial to Coldplay, Beyonce, and the Bruno Mars performance, but I think that was really the best halftime show.
Yeah.
And so, because it was just, there was no lag time. There was everything was joyful and interesting. I do think J-Lo was going to fire her hair person after tonight because her hair was in her face.
Everywhere.
Her hair was in her face for the first 2 minutes, and you could see her trying to get it out, and I know she's going to kick herself for that. She obviously got it together. She's an amazing performer, and she's used. I mean, she's a professional. She knows that sometimes happens, but I know in her mind, I could feel that she was like, "Oh God, there's like my it's that feeling when your hair gets stuck in your lip gloss, and you just can't get it out." And I know that person is going to get a talking to from Jennifer.
No, it really was. And I think the thing that constantly amazes me about halftime shows, and obviously next year we'll talk more and more about all of this, but the fact is they have to build that stage and tear down that stage within a 30-minute at the most marker. And that's why it's, a 12-minute show.
6 and 6. It was 6 minutes and 6 minutes.
Wow. But it's just one of those where it's like you're watching all of the football experts discuss the plays that were happening in the first 2 quarters of the game, and kind of what they think is going to happen and what they think the coaches are going to coach towards. And meanwhile, you're seeing like rings and like
all this stuff
20 people carrying just stage pieces, because it is the field that the players are playing on has to turn into this, health code regulation, safety stage for performers to perform on. And it was so amazing because obviously there's plenty of moments of beautiful dance movements, but you watch the stage kind of go.
And the difference in choreography between the 2 artists was really interesting too. Was something I want to point out. Like Shakira's choreography is so. It's very like it's in the gut.
Yeah,
it is. It's much more like there's a lot of it's like popping and locking, sort of like a.
That's a good way to simplify it.
It's
just like click, 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 click.
There's stylistically a lot of what's going on, but there's a lot of sort of like isolation movements that she does. And then J-Lo's a lot more fluid. There's a lot more like Latin. Both of them are Latin-based, but it's just like there's a lot more fluidity to Jennifer. So I really appreciated sort of like these 2 different women, and like they were both doing totally different performances and were super unique and had their own brand and own style. I think that what I was going to say was I did go to the Super Bowl in 2012 and I saw Madonna perform with Nicki Minaj and MIA.
Ooh.
And the craziest part of it was witnessing, first of all, no one else stood up. I was like, me and my mom stood up and I was like, it's Madonna. Like, are you kidding me? But no one else was standing up, and I was like, I'm going to rage my face off. But the craziest part to me was how quickly they put the stage up and took it down. That was the most baffling part to me, because to have that be safe and to have that hold, because that is just deconstructed and then reconstructed stage.
Talk about
that blows my mind.
IKEA furniture, right? Where it's like a one piece. One piece isn't screwed correctly. Like the entire thing falls down.
I don't know how they do it.
And
I don't know how they do it.
I mean, God, knock on wood, but it's just, we've never seen a stage collapse or like a stage malfunction. We've seen performers be like, ooh, I don't feel good about this, or a person not appear on time or something like that. But the stage, I really, that production team and the swiftness with which they need to carry the pieces out and clear the field, not damage the field, and, you know, from the viewer perspective, not even those just in the stadium, to make it just seamless is, woo! Props to you all.
Do you have any notes? Any critiques?
Oof. You know, I'm ironically, I think critique and I think of another compliment. I loved the use of colors that were happening because there was some fun. There was a lot of red that kind of flew out right off the bat, and then like J.Lo went into her lovely like sequin silver, very like sensual without being like trashy, which is so hard to do, and it just was like two strong women owning their space, and then all their dancers had this lovely like pop of color, and it's not CGI, like the computerized floor that they were dancing on kind of did these like collapsing moments of like all of a sudden it became all red and then it fell through, quote unquote, because
there were
it was
like waterfalls. That was so beautiful.
And I thought that was so interesting.
Or the cheerleaders that did that flip in the middle of the finale. I was like dying that there was like there was these incredible young like ballroom-esque dancers, and then there were like cheerleaders on stage, and then it was just I had so much fun. I was screaming that I was loving it so much.
Well, and I laughed because I definitely couldn't stop sitting about 5 minutes in. So it was definitely the last like 7 solid minutes.
And
I was
so many good songs.
Snapping. I was like, this is great.
So many good songs.
I mean, talk about a mashup.
They complement each other.
That they literally like float in, but also like those songs are so different. So kudos to that's not choreographers, the music composers, because they found a good flow between the two to keep a good tempo for the dancers and to keep a good rhythm for the viewer.
Totally.
Because it was just like, oh, I love this song. Oh, I haven't heard this in ages. Oh, I love this one too. Oh, I haven't heard that one. That's really catchy. Like, it makes me definitely want to go. You just want to blast J.Lo and Shakira right now. And just super fun. It definitely like leads you into a second half of a football game. And
we tried to not sing on the podcast, but I'm sorry.
No, we had to sing. We had to sing. It was so good. It was really good. And I hope you all enjoyed it too.
Snaps. Well done, ladies.
Really,
Girl
really.
power. And also like women celebrating women too.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Again, we'll tweet about it. We'll Instagram about it. I don't know why they had both of them. Did they feel... I might have missed whatever you read. So we got to look into that because it's confusing to me.
Because either way, it's a collaboration. I mean, you look at what Coldplay brought out Bruno, right?
Which really pissed me off because oh God.
But it's just interesting that it was
because
like
Beyonce had performed the year before, and I was just like
Janet Jackson brought out Justin. Obviously, that's infamous at this point. But it's just
they
like
had one song.
Who decides to bring out another artist for the halftime show is just different.
It bothered me a lot because I felt like they didn't know. I think that it's fine to have someone come on if they have a collab in your song, but it's like don't bring them out for the whole thing because the frustrating part to me is like just own your music and have your moment. This is the Super Bowl. There's what, 100 million people? How many people watch the Super Bowl? Like 200 million people?
I don't know, but it definitely affected
300 million people
abilities tonight.
Yeah, it was hard to watch, but 300 million people, 350 million people are watching the Super Bowl. Just kidding.
Well, again, that's why,
own it. Just own it.
From a business perspective, that's why commercials for the Super Bowl cost infinitely more amounts of money.
And are funnier.
Well, because there's a lot of work, because they understand that you can't fast forward through the Super Bowl. You're not going to pause and wait half an hour to start the Super Bowl. You're going to watch it live. You're going to watch every single
commercial.
It's
probably the one thing people actually still watch live.
And that is why they cost
so
much money. Even then, I feel like people will wait 10 minutes to start The Bachelor just so they can speed through a few commercials. And that's why, fun fact for our listeners and our viewers, that it's the first and last commercial on a commercial break cost twice as much as every other commercial. Like, to have that slot. Because then it's like, that's when the DVR kicks in and you fast forward and then you want to stop the last commercial. So it's a big, big ass marketing scheme for tonight especially. But I do think the beauty of the performance tonight was that it was such a heartfelt message to get across. It wasn't it wasn't inherently political. I thought it was lovely. It was
No.
literally just about celebrating origin stories and just dancing and music and strong women and all this stuff. Like, it wasn't overtly aggressive. It was just joyful, and I think that's so wonderful. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm glad I got to watch it live and talk about it with y'all.
It was great.
So.
Let us know your thoughts in the comments or DM us on Instagram or Twitter. We love you guys. Happy Super Bowl. Let's see who wins.
And holy crap, next weekend, Oscars. We can't wait. We will see you then. We actually will see you for a little pre-show addressing, tonight was the BAFTAs, and there's been the WGA, the DGA, and all this stuff that we haven't really talked about. So we'll probably do a little live something pre-Oscar viewing to kind of address all of that and what it might mean for the Oscars. But we're thrilled for a week from now to talk about all of it.
Yes.
So. Woo!
Cheers.
Enjoy the rest of the game. We will talk to y'all soon.
Cheers. Happy football.
Woo! My drink's really far away. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.